my creator is my parents.
Let's test this hypothesis, right? So your parents gave you life, right? Because they're your creator. Okay? So they have the intrinsic ability to give life. If you and I died as a child, a baby, of course, because they are our creator and they have the ability to give life, then they can give me life again and they can give you life again, right?
No. I don't know if it's God or not.
What's the attribute or quality of this higher power that has created this world? Right? Is there a way of knowing?
I don't know. So I can't tell you if there's a way of knowing.
So what if we say, if we use reason, through our reason, can we know this higher power has to be the necessary being? Necessary being possessing of many necessary attributes or qualities.
If you can use reason to define that, and that's what you believe, more power to you.
Because reason should be something that is universal between all of us, then we can come to this common understanding and then we can be sure about it, right? So reason is a way. So if there is a higher being, that higher being has to be the explanation of everything that exists. Because all our existence, what we call contingent or dependent. Like you and I are dependent on food and water, our parents to bring us in this life. I didn't create myself, neither did you. So everything in this way, we're all dependent. The set of dependent things is dependent. So it cannot explain itself. It needs to depend on something which is independent. That's where the thing that is independent, we call it necessary. So there's a dependent existence and necessary existence. Our dependent existence can only be explained rationally by necessary existence. So when we understand that rationally, that necessary existence, which gave rise to us, dependent existence, has ability to make us, create us, generate us, originate us, because that's how we are here. When I say it doesn't mean it's a neuter or he or she. If the necessary being has the ability to bring us here, did it happen through conscious awareness or without conscious awareness? When you look at all of these things, because it's the way it is, it could have been a different way, there's a choice involved. Yeah? My hat could have been different. Your jacket could have been different. There's a choice involved in making it the way it is. Yeah? So whenever you have the way it is, and it's not necessary my hat was to that. It wasn't necessary it was like this. It could have been grey, it could have a top, something in the middle. So anything that is not necessary, that means it could have been another way. And if it's another way, that means there's a choice that was involved in making it this way. So when there's a choice involved, it can only come from non-material thing. The necessary being that made this world has to be using a choice. And choice comes from self-aware entities. So our necessary being, the higher power, has ability, has choice or will, has self-awareness, and must have knowledge as well to make all of these things. So you've come to 4 attributes by using reason alone. Yeah. Look into Islam. You will see how it feeds your intellect and satisfies your queries and makes you live a life of worth living, meaningful life, in which you will be grateful. You are grateful to your friend when they do something good for you. You'd say thank you. The one who gave you life and the means to sustain your life, the one who gave you the heart, the lungs, the stomach, the brain, how are we thankful? We need to be grateful, and that's where the gratitude is the very beginning of our worshipping and recognition of our Creator, the higher being, which we call God, object of worship. Worship is this extreme, what we call veneration and thankfulness. It's not something that you go in a very cold water and dip yourself 7 times. That's not worship. The essence of worship is gratitude. So when we know our Creator who created us, and gave us all of these blessings and provisions, we are being thankful. And that's our worship. But how would we know this Creator if we didn't know the communication from this Creator? As a Muslim, she will tell you there is a communication called the Quran.
She's not Muslim.
She can be.
Well,
Okay, anyway. So read the Quran, which we claim to be communication, and it not only claims to be a communication from this higher power, but it brings objective, positive evidence for that claim. Because anyone can believe in anything nowadays. They can believe in Harry Potter as the book of God. Some people are crazy like this. But when it comes to Islam, we say you need to believe through informed choice. You need to believe by your own volition. And you need to believe through critical thinking that where is my evidence to believe in what I'm believing in? You're not going to go to a restaurant and eat anything that presents on the table. It could be arsenic, poison. You'd make sure the restaurant is reputable, that it serves good quality food, that you're not going to have stomach ache and go to, have diarrhea, for example.
I mean, I don't do that much research when I go to restaurants, but
Subconsciously do that. When you go to a restaurant, you order food that you know is good for you and it's not going to harm you.
I don't know about that. We just had McDonald's last night.
Through your experience, you know it doesn't harm you, even though it's junk food. Yeah? That's the experience-built decision, where you have your previous experience that I've had, but it didn't give me all of that. Yeah? When it comes to living your life, what guidance do you follow, should we follow? From our higher being. Because you and I, if I told you, live life like this, you'd say, who are you? You are as ignorant as I am. So we shouldn't take how to live our life from another human being from their own knowledge base, because they can be wrong. And that's what we see. People have all of these understandings and opinions about life, and they messed us so much that people died. Communism, Marx, Lenin, Stalin, what did they do? With their whole ideas of their political, political ideologies in which they wanted us to live life accordingly, thousands and thousands and millions of people suffered because of that. That happens with many other religious systems. So Islam says no. Think differently. Think critically. You should follow what is best for you. And what will be best other than what your Creator tells you to. If you think about logically and rationally, your Creator should know what is best for you than what you know what's best for you. Or your friends, your family, your government, what they think is best for you. Your Creator should know more.
So, but if my Creator is my parents?
Your Creator is not your parents, they're only a means. Because if they were your creators...
I would say my parents are my
Okay, let's test this.
That's where I disagree, because...
Let's test this hypothesis, right? So, your parents gave you life, right? Because they're your Creator. Okay? So they have the intrinsic ability to give life. If you and I died as a child, a baby, of course, because they are our Creator and they have the ability to give life, then they can give me life again and they can give you life again, right?
No.
Remember what you said? They are the ones who have the ability to give life.
They gave me life, but, sorry, does your God give me back my life if I die?
Yes.
He gives it back.
Yeah.
Right where I am. If
No.
I die on this spot,
If you die in this spot, no. But there is a whole paradigm different, which is
Well, what if my parents somehow...
your parents don't have.
But how do you know?
Come on. We know every single parents do not have the power to give life again to a dead child.
My life in another paradigm.
Look, the world that we live in, the paradigm of the parents, no parent can give life to a dead child. That's the parental paradigm. What we're saying is this life that we are created by our God, which I said is reasonable and rational to accept through the reason that I explained earlier, gives us life and causes us to die for a reason. Because this is a testing ground in which whether we are using our intellect and are thankful and grateful to our Creator or not, and based on that, when we are resurrected again one time, that's it. We will end up in a place of eternal happiness or eternal punishment. We decide based on how we live our life here. What about this is unreasonable and irrational?
Well, I just believe that my parents created me. They created my life. Just because they can't replicate it if I die doesn't mean that they didn't.
But they didn't have the ability to live intrinsically. That's what it shows.
They create life.
They were a process.
They create.
They're a process in which you came, but the life is not for them to give. Just like, did they control when you die?
If they kill me, they might.
Look,
Yeah.
if they don't kill you, can they control when you die?
I can't control when I die. No,
Your parents cannot control when you die. They don't have the ability to tell you when you die.
Does that mean that they didn't create me? Like,
They don't have the ability for life and death of you.
They don't have control of my life.
Yeah,
But
neither
they
the source of,
created-
neither the origin. Yeah. Origin.
That's where we disagree.
Did they create the heaven and the earth?
But I don't believe in heaven.
Sky,
But,
stars,
no, my parents
planets.
didn't create Earth. That came from the Big Bang.
And where did the Big Bang come from?
The universe, space, the galaxies.
And the universe, galaxies, did they self-originate? Was it always there, or was it created by a creator? We use
I don't know where
reason.
the universe came from. That's
Okay.
something that nobody knows, actually.
No. When you say nobody knows, how do you know that statement is true?
How do you know that's not true?
Yeah. Because to make a statement nobody knows, I have to exclude everyone and say they don't know. I can't make a statement like that.
Well, I personally, me myself, I don't know how the universe or any universes were created. All I know
Okay.
is that scientific processes created this earth. Scientific processes created human beings, and those same scientific processes created me.
Sure. I partly agree, but the one thing I disagree is this.
That's science.
I'm studying science too. The part that I disagree, the processes themselves isn't intelligent, isn't self-aware or conscious.
I didn't say they were.
That's what the problem is. When we have physical laws in our universe, the laws of electromagnetism, the laws of gravity, right? These laws are operational in our universe. The reason why the laws are working, because they are very coherent. The reason why we're able to do science, because our universe is rational.
Well, yes, but there's also phenomena that can't be explained.
Like what?
I'm not going to list phenomena. But like life itself is a phenomenon.
It can be easily
The fact that it
explained.
was created.
No, what science cannot explain is how does matter become alive without conscious intelligence making it so. The abiogenesis, the science of abiogenesis in its infancy is still why? Because they cannot give us a rational explanation. But when it comes to physical laws in the universe, physical laws do not pop from nothingness into existence.
I know that. I know that.
So,
I know there's
so
laws
these,
in the universe.
so who made that law?
What
What?
one thing made that law?
What?
I don't know. And
Okay,
you can say that
so-
it's a law, and I could say that it's a Christian God, and somebody else could say that
It's not about.
another God.
It's not about saying. One thing. One thing in. Yeah.
I said a higher being. So
That's
whatever
why-
higher being, maybe they created the universe, maybe they didn't. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't think about it.
But I am agreeing with you again. Look, we have a lot of in common. The physical laws are operational in our universe. They must come from a higher being. Must. A being that is conscious. A being that willed these laws to come into existence.
I don't agree with that.
Okay, now you tell me how can precise laws, like a code, do you drive? Did you read the highway code?
No, I'm Canadian.
You have a law book, right? How to drive in a motorway? Read.
We didn't have to read it.
So how do you know the laws of the motorway? How much speed limit it's going to be? How do you know the signs? You read in some kind of code book. I don't know what's it called, but there was a book, some code saying this means turning left, one way. This means stop. This means you can only drive when it's green. Yeah? So these laws of the motorway didn't just pop into existence by magic from nowhere. You and I would not ever believe in that. You would say this law is codified by intelligence agencies. Do you disagree?
You're comparing street laws to the laws of the universe.
which are more precise than the highway code.
Yeah, that's
So I'm not.
absurd.
So what I'm saying is, if I can, not absurd.
Speed limit to the law of gravity.
What
That's
I'm
a different kind of law.
What I'm saying is, when the thing in common is the unique precision in the laws that are operational. The laws in the highway code is less complex than the laws in the universe. If a less complex law needs an intelligence to make it, then logic and reason tells us something that is more complex, more precise, more harmonious needs an intelligence maker.
No, because those laws can be broken. And those are human-made laws. We didn't make universal laws. Yeah, I can break my human-made laws.
Perhaps I'm not making myself clear. Look,
And they're made by humans. That doesn't mean that something had to, some higher being had to make all the laws of the universe. That's not what that means. You're comparing a smaller system to a clearly larger system.
then if a smaller system needs an intelligent maker, what does science and what does observation and what does logic tells us? Higher systems needs, more importantly, a maker. If something less complex like a can of drink, fizzy drink, needs a maker, the universe with its complex laws also needs a maker. Because simple things, less complex needs a maker, more complex things doesn't need a maker. How do you reason?
They're just completely separate.
Now how do we reason? If something less complex needs a maker, something more complex, would it need a maker?
It was made doesn't necessarily mean through one independent maker.
That's not what I'm saying. Would it need a maker? Would it need a maker?
It was made. It was made.
Question
Do I
is-
know what it was made from? I do not.
Question is not
either.
about who made it, what is their quality, but the fact that there definitely is a need for a maker. Less complex requires a maker, more complex does require a maker. Logic.
That's not logic. That's
What
a
is it?
fallacy.
How is it a fallacy? Tell me.
Because
I'd love to know.
You're saying it needs a maker. It needs to be made. Whether that requires a maker or not, that's different. Like it's.
I don't get it.
You're implying that.
Why does less complex thing needs the maker? Like I'll show you a bottle, right? Let me show you a bottle.
I understand your point,
But say I have a bottle like this. I just had a bottle. Like,
look, I understand your point.
I can't find it now.
I don't believe that there's one entity that made everything.
Did I say one entity or many entity? I didn't ask that question. Here, this is a bottle. Do you know why there's ridges? Guess.
The manufacturer put ridges in the bottle.
Why?
I don't know. I'm not a bottle maker.
Sure. These ridges are there, so when you finish drinking it, you can collapse it. Less space for recycling. Most bottles are like that. If you didn't know, that's the reason why. This is a design feature of that bottle. That screw cap also has a design feature that you can actually close it. Yeah? Design feature. It has specific reason how even these writings, as you can see, all of them evidence of design of an intelligence.
Human-made products. I understand your point, but I just don't agree that.
No, what I'm saying.
Necessarily a maker, a singular maker.
Okay, so you agree.
Independent maker.
So do you agree that there is a maker then?
I agree that we made everything that
Sure.
we see.
How many maker?
Made laws.
How many maker can there be for our universe?
I don't know how the universe works. That's
We can reason.
No, we can't reason everything.
We can.
can't reason
We can.
Every
If-
single mystery that.
It's not a mystery. If there are more than one maker, there will be chaos in this universe.
According to what?
Let me tell you. In this universe, what we have discovered so far, there is uniformity of laws, meaning there is precision and order which is uniform. Not everything is chaotic. Like, why does?
So much chaos in the universe.
Of course not.
Anyways, it's bad.
Of course not.
Thank you for your time.
Anyway, take care. May Allah guide them and guide us all to closer and closer to the truth. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله ولكم.